everybody, and welcome to this week's live. So, today we're talking about how to access safety slash regulate your nervous system. So, before you get an awareness, before you have an awareness of, nervous system, regulation, that kind of thing, like it's very common for most of us to be living in a state of basically our system is not in the rest and digest state of parasympathetic, and it's more in the sympathetic response of being activated, fight, flight, freeze, fawn. And because it's like becomes so normal that we don't even realize that we're actually in that state, we're constantly in the hypervigilant state of like deadlines, conflicts at work, even like being late or having like a lot of things on your to-do list, like will activate the sympathetic response. And because a lot of time like this, well, we're kind of socialized to kind of be in a stressful state, and because from a lot of us in childhood, we might have been programmed more into like an activated state. It's just so normal that we don't even realize that on a fundamental level we don't feel safe. And this can go like as far back as like even in the womb. So because a lot of us are missing like this fundamental block of do we even feel safe, a lot of everything else that we do kind of is out of whack because we don't have like this fundamental thing in place. And you can even become like addicted to things like stress because your system becomes like kind of dependent on it. It gets used to running in like a certain way. So a lot of this regulating our nervous system is just about creating like a new pathway of getting out of the hypervigilance and into more of like the sympathetic rest and digest. And so here's a couple of ways in how to do that. Basically, my three favorite ways would be breathing, somatic exercises, and EFT, as well as connecting to the earth. Those are like my four top ways of accessing safety. So, one of the fundamental things about being in like the activated state is just kind of like shallow breathing, right? Lack of belly breath. So, yeah, simply breathing. But when you're in a really activated state, what I like to do is the breath of just like inhaling and holding it for 10 seconds and exhaling. If you want, you can try it here with me right now. That never fails to get me more into a calmer state. So the other thing I like to do is because the back actually is the source of there's like a lot of associations with like having your back and support and safety. What I like to do is just like simply like rub my back. And I like to do that exercise in combination with EFT because if you're constantly living in like a activated state and or from a young age we just have this belief that we're not safe. We just have like there's an underlying belief system of lack of safety. So doing any kind of belief work can shift that, and so that will also help to obviously bring in that feeling of safety into the system. So I did this in relation to healing money. I did a similar tapping if anybody wants to check out that. But I can just do like a general like tapping for feeling safe. So yeah, EFT, it's based on traditional Chinese medicine. It's psychological acupuncture. Um, you can check out, if you don't know about EFT, you can check out my intro video to it on my YouTube. But you can just follow after me for now. So we start at the cardio shot point. So even though I often don't feel safe, and I don't even realize that on a fundamental level I don't feel safe, I'm constantly stressing about my to-do list, or the bills, or various conflicts, or whatever thing that is just keeping me in like a fight or flight state. And I have like all this tension in my body, and it may or may not be just a constant thing that I live with. Even though I feel unsafe a lot of the time, so much so that I don't even notice it, I deeply and completely love, accept, and forgive myself. Choosing to release the idea that I'm not safe, even though things might seem like that or my system might be interpreting things like that. Placing it with the knowing and confidence and feeling that I am safe. Even though I've been used to being hypervigilant, choosing to release this constant on guard feeling and replace it with the knowing that I'm safe. If you want, you can like combine tapping with the rubbing the back, although sometimes it can be kind of hard to do it simultaneously. I'm deserving of feeling safe. I'm worthy of feeling safe. I know how to feel safe. So deeply and completely love, accept, and forgive myself. So before I go into the last method that I've used for like accessing safety, I think it's important to realize one of the key things about this is that like it's not just that something might like feels unsafe to us, like a deadline or a conflict with somebody. Um, it's actually not like the thing itself a lot of the time, unless it's like something like someone trying to attack you or a bear or something. Like it's it's actually not like the thing itself, but like our perception of it being unsafe. So I had like this really poignant thing happen where like someone like was yelling at me and like I felt my system like kind of go into like the unsafety, like the I'm unsafe kind of activation. And I just at the same time as they were doing that, I just did the EFT tapping of I'm safe, and I noticed like like as I was doing like that, they it just felt so much less intimidating. Like they're yelling at me and so much more manageable. So it wasn't actually like that they were yelling at me, but my system was interpreting that as a threat. That was the thing that was stressing me out. So if you can reverse engineer like your system to like not perceive everything as a threat, then you have a lot more capacity. Because the thing is like when you're in the activated state, like it's it's almost as if like your whole system goes into tunnel vision. Like it really reduces your capacity to respond and your availability of options to respond, or even just like knowledge, right? So yeah, like a lot more opens up for you once you create the pathway of safety and rest and digest, essentially. Okay, so the last one is connecting to the earth. So yeah, like one of the things is a lot of times like we don't notice that we're feeling unsafe is because we're like disassociated, like we're living in our head. So yeah, like I think maybe that's like something I should have started with too, is just like noticing, creating like the pathway of like noticing the feeling of unsafety within our bodies. So a lot of times we hold this tension like in our stomach and in our like genital areas. So I like to combine like the somatic awareness with connecting to the earth. So what you can do is like imagine like that tension feeling like in your stomach, or maybe it's like in your heart, wherever you feel that tension, like in your body. Um, just imagine like just notice where that tension is right now, and imagine it melting into the core of the earth. Like there's like a channel, like a grounding channel between like the bottom of your spine and the core of the earth, and there's like a clear channel between those 2 points, and the tension is just melting right into the center of the earth. because nothing is more grounding and reminding of safety than just connection to the earth and just really feeling like your feet on the ground and that the earth has your back and is like holding and is supporting you. So the last point I want to make is that yeah, a lot of this will require some like awareness that you aren't like feeling safe, because if you're just used to being activated, then it's hard to like notice that there is any other way to be. So definitely, would recommend having a meditation practice to start building that awareness muscle, so that you can kind of start to notice like when you're feeling activated, when you're not, and especially a practice like Vipassana, which helps you to practice tuning into your body, because that is really how you're going to notice like, oh, okay, when I'm around this person, my stomach tenses up, whereas before I never even noticed that. So yeah, I hope that's helpful. And yeah, being able to regulate yourself and access safety is like a really fundamental thing that a lot of us skip out on when we're doing our self development thing. So hopefully this is helpful for you. I hope you apply it and let me know how it goes. If you're new to this kind of thing, and I'll catch you next week. Bye.